Close the eyes, take the hands to rest on the knees. Soften the elbows and allow them to move slightly inwards towards the rib cage. Take a moment to tune into the sounds inside of your space. Notice the subtleties, such as the temperature in the room, texture of the mat on your skin, and maybe the less subtle things, such as how your body is feeling this morning. So we tend to have annoyance towards those places that may have more pain, say, or less mobility. But instead of being frustrated with those places, take a moment to just send some compassionate breaths to wherever that might be, the knees, the low back, or the shoulders, and soften those areas. And visualize the structure of the body, so the skeleton, all of the bones, the outer edges of your feet connecting with the mat, the downward pull of gravity on your knees, moving upwards towards the pelvis. Lift the front hip bone slightly up and feel your deep core abdominals contract. Visualize the rib cage fanning open on your breath in and softening inwards as you exhale, similar to an accordion. And keep rising up through the length of the spine. If you can visualize the space between your shoulder blades and draw that area slightly forward. Draw the heads of the shoulders back, widen the collarbones. Move upwards towards the base of the neck. And allow any tension to roll off through the backs of the shoulders. Level the head so that it's even between right and left sides. As much as you can tell without looking from the outside, you're just using the mind's eye. Chin is parallel with the floor. You can soften the muscles of the face and the jaw. Having established that structural position of the body, allow the muscles to soften around the bones. Inhale for a count of 4. Breathe out for a count of 6. So extending the exhale just a little bit longer, unless that requires too much effort. Definitely no struggle. Breathe in again for 4. Breathe out for 6. Then again, inhale, lift from the crown of the head. And as you exhale, soften the chin to the chest, round out the spine, soften the shoulders inwards, broaden across the upper back. Draw the chest through the gate of the arms. Take an inhale, lift your heart center, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale and round the spine, chin to the chest. Inhale, heart center lift. Exhale as you round and move through spinal rotations. Feel the side body lengthening through the rib cage, the muscles between the ribs, and mobilizing the shoulders. On your next inhale, change the direction. And allow the rotations to get smaller and smaller and smaller, finding your way back to a center line. Stack one vertebra on top of the next. Breathe in, sit tall. Suspend your breath. And slowly and patiently exhale. Exhale. Empty out the lungs. And allow the breath to find its natural rhythm. And open the eyes, uncross and recross your legs. Take the other shin in front. Then bring your thumbs to the hip crease, tops of the thighs, and start to lean forward with the long spine, feeling the thumbs deepen in that hip crease. So the thumbs keep sliding back, and maybe you notice a difference between the two sides. Soften the chin towards the chest, and once that hip crease isn't deepening any further, take the hands in front, hold and breathe. And only go further if that hip crease at the tops of the thighs is deepening. Otherwise, the chances are you're just rounding the spine, which can also be a nice stretch, but not quite the focus just in this posture. Press gently into the hands to keep the hips, the sitting bones, moving back towards the floor while the spine lengthens forward. Take 2 more breaths here. Imagine that my hand is on your low back and you're breathing into my hand. So sending the breath down as low as it will go. Walk back to an upright position. Take the hands in behind the hips, tent your fingertips, rotate your torso to face right. Then extend the left arm forward. Walk that left hand as far forward as you can. Using the right hand a little bit for balance and kind of like a steering wheel. So you can press into the fingertips and soften the outer left shoulder down as though you want to turn to face the right. Every time you feel an opportunity to go a little bit deeper into that stretch, go ahead. And stay facing the right leg, but come back to an upright position and move into a twist. Left hand comes to the right knee. Take your right fingertips close to the base of the spine. Inhale, sit tall, and exhale, rotate the torso around. Now take your awareness to the left rib cage and try to roll the left rib cage forward and the right rib cage back. So that's the least mobile part of the spine. For an important reason, it's housing and protecting the internal organs, but we can still bring a little bit of healthy flexibility to the thoracic spine. Now take your gaze towards your left shoulder without dropping the chin, but you can drop the left shoulder by bending the elbow and softening it inwards. Unwind back to center. Tent the fingertips behind you. Turn to face the left leg. So rotate the torso as much as you can and then walk the right hand forward. Take it as far forward as you can. Use the left hand as a little bit of a steering wheel. Soften the outer right shoulder down and see if you can feel your left hip crease here deepening. And come back up to that upright position and into a spinal twist. Right hand to the knee, take the left fingertips in behind, anchor the sitting bones down, breathe in, sit tall and focus on the rib cage again as you exhale and twist. Then bring your gaze over to the right. Drop the right shoulder down, soften the elbow, tuck it in. And unwind back through center. Plant the hands behind you. Roll the shoulders back and down. Take all of the weight into your hands and push into the hands to lift your heart center. And face forward. Uncross the legs. Take them wider than hip width distance apart. Drop both knees out over to the right. Right foot is on the baby toe side of the foot. Left foot is right on the inner edge of the foot. So you're not so much on the tops of the feet if you can be. Swing the legs back up through center, drop them over to the left. You can let that right hip roll right up off the floor. Inhale back to center, take them over to the right again. Now walk the hands in a little bit closer to you so you're more upright. Take the left hand in behind you and move into a twist. So you're stretching with the left fingertips. Walk the hands back up in towards you. Bring the knees back up through center. Drop them over to your left. Walk the right hand in behind you. Stretch out through the right fingertips. So just a different variation on a twist. And return to neutral. Swing your legs back up through center and over to the side. Come onto the hands and knees. Rotate the fingers to point towards the side wall and press the pads of the thumbs and heel of the hands firmly into the mat. Inhale, draw the gaze forward. Look at the creases of your elbows, rotate them forward, squeeze the shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, press into that inner hand, round out the spine, scoop the tailbone. Inhale the gaze forward, draw the chest, heart center forward, shoulders down away from the ears, and exhale as you round. Awareness on the rib cage. Take an inhale. Exhale and round. Last time, breathe in. And exhale. Back to center, rotate the hands to face forward. Walk the hands a handspan or so further forward and slide the hips back towards the heels. So they shouldn't come all the way to the heels in this pose. It's not quite a child's pose, more hips hovering above the heels as you inch the fingertips further and further overhead. Come back to all four, tabletop. Pull the belly towards the spine, press the inner hands, pads of the thumbs down, and hover your knees above the mat. Scoop the tailbone under as you would in cat-cow. Press the shoulder blades towards the sky. Half downward facing dog, slide the hips back towards your heels and release the crown of the head towards the mat. Straighten out just your right leg, reach the heel towards the floor. Imagine lifting up from that right hip crease, top of the thigh. Bend the right knee, straighten your left leg, soften the left heel down, and at the same time, lift the left hip crease up. Straighten out both legs. Hide the heels behind your toes. Press the torso back towards the thighs.
Now focus on the upper arms and squeeze them in towards the ears. So really locking the elbows. Press the pads of the thumbs down. And walk your hands to your feet. Come to the back of the mat. Separate your feet a little bit wider apart, not a whole lot, and align the outer edges of your feet with the outer sides of the mat so that they're parallel. Fold over the legs. Take opposite hand to elbow. Push your feet into the floor. Notice how this brings a greater stretch through the entire back line of the body, across the calf muscles, up through the backs of the thighs, hips and glutes, low back, length of the spine, and even through the back of the neck. Nod the head yes and no. And take the thumbs to the hip crease, tops of the thighs. Inhale and rise up. Firmly pull your hips forward into the thumbs and interlace your hands behind your back. Roll the shoulders down, reach the knuckles of the hands towards the space between your heels. Soften the chin to the chest. Roll the right ear towards the shoulder. With your right hand, tug on the left hand. Chin to the chest. Left ear to the shoulder. Your left hand, tug on the right one. Chin to the chest. Hinge forward from the hip crease. So slide your hips back. Come all the way down. Float the arms up off your back and shift them from side to side. Lower your hands to the mat, walk forward, downward facing dog. Step your feet side by side at the back of the mat. Lift up high onto the balls of the feet. Spin your heels out over to the left and reach your heels towards the floor. Look under the right arm. Lift the hips back up, feet are still side by side. Heels lift up, spin your heels over to the right and down towards the floor. Look under the left arm. Heels lift, hips lift, separate your feet hip width distance. Look forward, as many steps as you need, come to the top of the mat and fold forward over the legs. Take the thumbs to the hip crease, tops of the thighs. Pull your hips forward as you inhale and rise up. So using more of the glute strength than you are relying on the back to come to standing. Step your feet right close together, bring the heels together, squeeze your knees towards each other. Inhale the arms up, interlace your fingers, and hinge to the right. Gently press your hips to the left. Soften the chin away from the chest, so feel a softness in through the front of the throat. And inhale, rise back up through center, and exhale over to your left. Press the hips to the right. Soften the chin off the chest. Inhale back up to center. Exhale your hands to your heart center. Separate the feet hip width distance. Bend the knees to Utkatasana. Visualize the hip crease, tops of the thighs. Keep sliding back from there. Leaning forward with the upper body. Draw the lower belly in and up.
Take a deeper bend in the knees. Keep sliding the hips back, leaning the torso forward. Then squeeze your shoulder blades towards your spine. Focus the gaze, shift the weight into the balls of the feet, float your heels up. Pull the belly in. So using your core to support balance. Heels come to the floor, fold forward over the legs. Crown of the head towards the earth. Right fingertips to the floor, bend your right knee, slide the left arm behind your back. Turn to face left. Squeeze the left shoulder down away from the ear. Pull the left elbow back. Squeeze the left shoulder blade towards the spine. Chin off the chest. Draw back from the center of the back of the head. Release your left hand down. Bend the left knee, change sides, slide the right arm in behind your back. Squeeze the right shoulder back and down. Squeeze the right elbow back. Squeeze the right shoulder blade towards the spine. And release the right hand down. Utkatasana, bend your knees. Inhale, stretch the arms up overhead. Deepen the bend in the knees. We'll practice cat-cow in chair pose. So slide the hands to the upper thighs or knees. Inhale, draw the chest through the arms. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Exhale, round your spine. Pull the belly in. Press your tailbone towards the earth. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, round and scoop. Inhale, lift the heart center. Exhale and round. Last time, breathe in. Exhale and fold. Step your right foot back to a nice deep lunge. Bend your right knee to hover above the mat. Take a look at your left foot. Align the outer edge of the foot with the outer side of the mat. So left outer edge parallel with the outer side of the mat. Draw the belly in towards the spine. Deepen from your left hip crease. So really focusing on some subtle alignment cues here, which all of you have practiced long enough that I'm sure you can access them. Straighten out your right leg, press through the heel. Shift the weight into the left heel, so you don't even have to move your body, but just press your left heel into the floor. Lift up your left toes, push the mound of the big toe into the floor, and then soften your toes back down so that you really feel you're rooting down through the left heel. At this point, you probably have an appreciation for how much more challenging it is to move nice and slow. Bend your right knee to hover above the mat. Press back through the heel. Bend the knee. Nothing is changing with your left leg. Press back through the heel. Last two. Extend. Last one. Extend, and with great relief, straighten your left leg, fold forward as far as you can. Bend your left knee. Take the right heel to the floor. Take both hands to the inside of your left foot. Feel free to take a block beneath your hands. Step your left foot just an inch or two left. Make sure the outer edge of that foot parallel with the outer side of the mat. Start to fold forward. Glue the knee to your shoulder. So left knee squeezing in towards that left shoulder. Visualize your left hip crease, slide it back towards the back heel. Lengthen through the back of the neck.
Back leg, the right one, super firm, so straighten it out. And also press the right thigh back. Imagine dragging your right heel towards the back of the mat and sliding your left heel forward. Hold for 3. And again, slowly straighten out the left leg just as much as you can. Fold. Bend your left knee, keep your right hand down, pivot onto the ball of the back foot, and stretch your left arm up for your twist. Awareness on the rib cage as you rotate around through the thoracic spine. Lower your left hand down, step back to downward facing dog. Pedal the heels. With an inhale, slide forward, plank pose. Rotate the creases of your elbows forward, squeeze your glutes, pull the belly into the spine. Bring your knees to the floor, send the tailbone towards the back heel, pause. Even with your toes turned under, push your heels back towards the wall behind you. Creases of the elbows forward, pads of the thumbs down. Draw the belly to the spine and tuck your elbows in as you slowly, slowly lower down. Keep the shoulders drawing down away from the ears. And then point your toes. Press the baby toenails and all 10 toes into the floor. Maybe you look back and see if that's actually happening. Chances are you think that it is, but it's not quite. So get the baby toes right down. Heels point up towards the sky. Just pause here. Sink the tailbone towards the heels. Visualize your front hip bones. Press them downwards into the floor. As you inhale, draw the belly forward towards the front of the mat. You can keep just softening the chin towards the chest. Baby toes grounded. Heels point up. Belly pulling forward, front hip bones down. Hold for 3. Turn your toes under. Slide back, table pose. So bend the knees, push into the hands. Walk your hands out over to the right and slide the hips back towards your left heel. Walk your right hand in closer to you. Soften the outer left shoulder down. Rotate any amount to the right. So similar to that first posture that we did, you're using the right hand a little bit like a steering wheel as you lengthen through the outer left side. And lift up and walk your way over to the left. Slide the hips back towards the right heel. Soften your outer right shoulder down. Walk your left hand, your steering wheel, and a little bit closer to you. Lengthen through the outer right side. Left hand overhead as you walk back through center. Lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Rise up onto your toes. Look forward, step to the top of the mat. Lift and lengthen once you get there, and fold over the legs. Reach to the sides, rise up, breathe in. Press your palms together, lift the gaze towards the sky, and exhale as you fold forward from the hip crease. Lift halfway up, inhale. A deeper forward fold as you exhale. And again, stretch the arms out to the sides and up. Breathe in, pull the hips forward. Exhale, fold over the legs. Lift halfway up. Inhale. And forward fold. Breathe out. Take a big step back with your left foot. Find a nice deep lunge. Align the outer edge of your right foot with the outer side of the mat. Hold and breathe. Press the mound of the big toe of that right foot downwards into the floor. And hover your left knee above the mat. Seal the outer edge of your right foot into the floor and lift the arch of the foot. And feel that focus driving down into the right heel as you lift the toes up, spread them out, soften them back down. Slide your outer right hip back as you deepen that right hip crease. Take an inhale and exhale, press the left heel back. Again, nothing is changing with that right leg. Breathe in, knee bends. Exhale, press back. Every once in a while, see that you're driving down through the front heel. Bend the knee, inhale. Extend, breathe out. 2 to go, inhale. And exhale. Last time, inhale. And exhale. Fold forward over the front leg. Straighten it out just as much as you can. Bend the knees, spin your left heel to the floor. Take both hands to the inside of the front foot, toe heel your right foot, just a couple of inches to the right. Realign the outer edge of the foot with the outer edge of the mat, and you're sealing the right knee in tight with that right shoulder. Now your tendency always for most people is for the right hip to hang back or hang out to the right. So the challenge is to tuck it in, right sitting bone towards alignment with your right heel. The way that you do that is by deepening that front hip crease. Press the ball of the big toe into the floor and hold. Pivot onto the ball of the back foot. Keep the left hand grounded. Inhale, reach your right arm up for the twist. Lower the hand down and step back. Downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels. Inhale, come on forward, plank pose. Creases of the elbows face forward. Pull the belly tight to the spine. Maintain a flat back, but just drop your knees to the mat. Then push your heels back. Crown of the head reaching forward. Belly pulling in. Visualize those front hip bones lifting up towards the lower ribs. So this is more a core exercise than it is a classical push-up. One more inhale here. Keep the belly pulling in tight to the spine. And exhale as you lower down, tuck the elbows in. Widen the space between your hands until your fingertips come right up off the mat. Elbow points towards the sky. Look at your toes. Press the baby toes down. Then try to rotate heels towards the sky. Press your front hip bones down. Send the tailbone towards the heels. Draw the belly in and up. And as you inhale, lift the heart center. Maintaining all of those principles. Go through the cues again. Baby toes grounded. Front hip bones lifting. Tailbone sliding down. Heart center lifts up. Release down, but not all the way as you press your right shoulder towards the floor and look left. Back through center, drop your left shoulder
and look right. Back to center. Slide your hands under your shoulders, toes under, tabletop. Take an inhale, reach your right arm out to the side. Exhale, slide that arm in behind your left one. Slide the hips back towards the heels and walk your left arm overhead. Now you can release your forehead or right ear towards the earth. You choose. Bring the right arm back through. And inhale, stretch your left arm out to the side. Take the hand in behind your right one. As you slide the hips back towards the heels, start to walk the right hand further forward, forehead or ear releasing towards the earth. Take the left arm back through and lift up to downward facing dog. Walk your hands to your feet, come to the back of the mat and fold. Separate your feet wider than mat width. Well, actually, you can keep your heels on the floor, but pivot the toes out and find a nice deep bend in the knees. Take the forearms to the thighs. So one last little push with the leg strength. Take the hands to the hips and lift your torso upright. Use your fingers to lift your front hip bones up towards the lower ribs and squeeze your knees back towards the wall behind you. Pull the pelvis forward, lean your upper body slightly back, soften and relax the shoulders. Try to feel the baby toes rooting down. So actively feel baby toes rooting down, inner arches of the feet lifting up, tailbone tucking, hips forward, torso back. Hold for 3. And straighten the legs. Pivot the heels out, so now the feet are off the mat, and fold. Take both hands over towards the right leg, draw the forehead towards the shin. Walk both hands over towards your left leg, forehead towards the shin. Then back to center. Toe heel your feet back to hip width distance apart. Take your thumbs to your hip crease. With an inhale, pull the hips firmly forward, rise up. Making your way to tree pose. Right hand comes to the hip. Draw the left knee into the chest. Maybe we'll go on a little bit of a tangent first. Notice if you're leaning back with the torso, pull from the navel, the torso forward. So you're not just leaning forward with the head, in other words. Make tiny little circles with that left knee. See if you can stabilize the pelvis. So not too much shifting from side to side. Press firmly into the right foot. Change the direction. Lighten the grip on your hands. So if you wanted to, you'd be making those same circles without holding the knee at all. And then into tree pose. Squeeze your left knee back. Pull the pelvis forward. Relax the shoulders. Point your knee forward and lower your foot to the earth. Change sides, left hand to the hip. Draw the right knee in. Pull the belly in. Root down through the left foot. Tiny circles with the right knee. Mobilize the pelvis, so see if you can feel the pelvis rocking beneath your left hand and steady it. Change direction. And move into tree pose. And lower the foot down and fold over the legs. Walk your hands forward, downward dog. And come right into a pigeon pose so we can stretch out the glutes. Sliding the right knee in behind your right wrist, angle your foot to the left. Walk your left leg back. Lower down onto the forearms. Now remember that the lying down variation of this, which might be easier on the knee, is coming onto your back and crossing the right ankle on top of your left thigh. So both knees would be bent. Now you can either stay here, continue to walk the arms forward, maybe rest your forehead onto the earth as an option. Visualize sliding your left big toe towards the back wall. So notice if the heel drops out to the left. Keep the heel pointed up towards the sky and stretch along the inner seam of that leg. And walk the hands in towards you. Turn your back toes under, pick your knee up off the mat, step back to downward facing dog, or just switch sides if you're lying down. Draw the left knee in behind your left wrist. Walk your right leg back. Find your preferred arm variation. Maybe you fine-tune the position of the right foot a touch. And walk your hands back in, turn your back toes under, pick your knee up off the mat, find your last downward dog. Knees come to the earth. Slide the hips back towards your heels in a child's pose. Don't worry if the hips don't get all the way there, and if this isn't a comfortable position for you, then just find a pose that feels good and that enables you to reconnect with that long and deep breath that you established at the beginning of the class. And walk the hands in towards you. Swing the legs out over to the right side. Take them straight out in front. Bend your left knee. Take approximately 2 fist widths distance between the left foot and the inner thigh. And it's just an estimate. So you can notice already that knee wants to drop out to the side. But we're going to aim to seal the knee
to the left shoulder. So your left arm is to the inside of the leg, right fingertips come in behind you, start to walk the left arm forward. Outer edge of that foot, align with the outer edge of the mat and squeeze the knee in. So focus mainly on that knee, sealing the knee to the shoulder, outer edge of the foot parallel with the short edge or the side of the mat. Hold and breathe. So right leg is nice and active. Press your right heel forward and firm the left upper thigh, and take your awareness back to the knee, hugging the shoulder. 3. And we'll bend the left elbow, lift the torso upright, and turn to the right. Squeeze the knee into the arm at the same time that you press the arm against the leg. Turn to face forward and twist in the opposite direction. So hold on to the knee with your right hand, or take the knee into the crook of the elbow. Left fingertips come in behind. Lift your torso upright, breathe in, lifting from the crown, and exhale. Again, emphasis on the rib cage. Turn to face forward and take the foot to the opposite thigh. Walk your way forward. Deepen the right hip crease. Feel that you are sliding the outer right hip back. And as you do that, front hip crease deepens, and you can fold further forward over the extended leg with a nice long spine. And walk back up to center. Lift your knee up. Extend that leg. Bend the right knee. Separate the foot from the inner thigh, approximately 2 fist widths. Align the outer edge of your foot with the outer side of the mat. Take your left fingertips in behind. Take the right arm to the inside of the foot. Squeeze the right shoulder and knee together and lean forward. Deepen your right or your left hip crease. And you may not go forward hardly at all. That's definitely the case for me. I'm feeling this already in my low back. I don't have to go any further. Try to seal the outer edge of that foot into the floor. Hug the knee back into the shoulder. Use your inner thigh strength. Firm your left thigh. And walk back to center. Bend the right elbow. Turn to face left. Hug the knee into the arm. And back to neutral with your left arm. Hold on to the knee or take it to the inner elbow. Sit tall as you breathe in. Gently twist as you exhale. Rib cage rotating around the axis of the spine. And face forward and bring the foot to the inner thigh. Fold forward over the front leg. Deepen your left hip crease as you slide your outer left hip back. And feel that nice lengthening through the spine.
Then walk your way back up through center. Lift the knee up, extend the leg forward, give the knees a little bit of a shake. Press your thighs down, take an inhale, stretch the arms up overhead, hinge from the hip crease, exhale and fold forward. So deepening the hip crease, tops of the thighs. Once you come to your full forward fold, soften the chin to the chest. Keep sliding your outer hips back. Slide the sitting bones back towards the back wall. And then walk your way back up through center. Come to the top of the mat with your yoga block between the inner thighs. So angle it from the upper thighs vertically towards your inner knees. Arms come alongside of the body, create a C shape with the spine so that the heart center is leading and the belly is dropping back towards the earth. Curl down in slow motion. Give the block a little squeeze, especially through the inner knee area where the block is. Keep lengthening and gently squeezing. Lower all the way down and slide the heels in closer to the hips, but you still have the block between the inner thighs. Arms come alongside of the body. Push your low back into the mat. Squeeze the block gently with the inner knees all the way up towards the inner thighs. Press your arms down, fingertips to the backs of the shoulders. Squeeze your glutes and lift the hips up. No pinching in your lower back. Send the tailbone forward, but drag the heels towards the shoulders. Reach the right arm up overhead. Squeeze the block. Take your left ear to the mat. Look to the ceiling, lower your right arm down and reach your left arm overhead. Right ear to the mat. Look to the ceiling, lower your left arm down. Curl your way down, still holding on to the block. Take the block and slide it under your tailbone. Extend the right leg out nice and long. Feel a stretch in through the top of the right thigh. Adjust the block so that your front ribs can soften down and there's a feeling of the spine lengthening, not overarching through the lower back. We'll take 3 more breaths. Walk your right foot in. Walk your left heel forward. Reposition or even remove the block if you need to. Soften the backs of the shoulders, length of the spine. Then walk the left foot back in. Press into your feet, lift the hips up, place your block to the side, bring your low back to the floor, draw the right knee into the chest. Interlace your hands around the right leg. Squeeze the thigh in towards your torso. Feel your outer right hip sliding forward. Walk the left leg out on the mat. And lower your right foot to the floor. Draw the left knee into the chest. Interlace your hands around the leg. Squeeze the thigh in towards your torso. Slide your outer left hip forward. Walk the right foot forward, legs straight. Lower your left foot down, bend your right knee. Press into your feet, scoop the tailbone under, send the tailbone forward, and straighten out your legs. Let the feet drop out to the sides. Take the arms alongside of the body. Allowing the legs to relax. So they definitely did a lot of work today. Feel the upper thigh muscles release. Feel the weight of your heels. Soften the grip of the toes. Allow your low back to relax. Feel the breath in your rib cage. Take 2 more deep breaths. Your deepest breaths. Release the backs of the shoulders down. Feel the weight of your head on the earth. Soften the cranial bones. Soften the jaw. Take a moment to scan the body for those places that you tend to experience more sensation, we'll call it, and soften those areas. Release the weight of the body fully. Allow the earth to support the weight of your body. Bring your awareness to your breath. Start to breathe more deeply. Awaken the body, wiggle the fingers and the toes. Rotate the wrists and ankles. Inhale through the nose, extend the arms overhead. Lengthen the spine, point the toes. And through the mouth, exhale. Bring the knees to the chest. Rock and roll forward and back and side to side. And find your way back to a seated, cross-legged position with the eyes closed. Take the palms of the hands together at the heart center. Sealing the practice with the sound of Om. Take a conscious breath in. Oh. Namaste.